Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Aggieville Alleycats podcast. Look, I'm rain, shine, or anything in between. We're going to deliver to you the Kansas State sporting news you so love. I'm Mace Edwards, right alongside
Connor Baltasar.
And welcome to this week's surprisingly full weekly recap. Now, you wouldn't know that if you were just paying attention to merely the sporting events that happened. There are only 3 true events that happened in the previous week. And full disclosure, we are recording this before the soccer game because both of us, also known as me, just me, have prior commitments that I cannot get out of, nor would I particularly want to get out of them. So we're going to record this before the soccer game tonight, so results will be covered on next week's episode. But we have track to cover, the men's and women's TV schedules, as well as the Soccer Cats and the Volley Cats. But let's just go ahead and dive into just adjusting for, sports, for how sports are perceived. Probably the biggest news in the week of K-State, and that is in the track program, which you and I were both extremely high on the track and field hire when it happened. And I think you and I have maintained the stance that if we're going to win a national title in anything, it would probably be in track and field. And this is a pretty good indicator of, that's still a possibility.
Yeah. We already, I think, made a really great hire in Travis Geffert. And obviously he put together an incredible staff, of course, highlighted by our jumps coach, Woodard, who just won the or Woodhall, Davis Woodhall, who just won gold in the Olympics and who I think just won world championship in her event. And so not shocking that we put together a great recruiting class when we have such a great staff. And also K-State does have a pretty decent history already with track and field.
But how great, I didn't mention it. How great is the recruiting class?
Yeah. The headline from K-State reads, K-State signs top-ranked recruiting class in the NCAA. So supposedly I'm taking that as we signed like the number 1 class. That's how I am taking that. They don't actually source it, but I don't really care.
It benefits us to say that,
yes.
So we're going to not investigate it.
Yes. I'll be committing journalistic corruption and not looking into this claim any further because it benefits my narrative. But it's okay. We're not going to go through every player or every athlete, I should say, because there are 53 of them. And I A, don't want to talk about all of them, and B, don't think anyone wants to listen to me talk about all of them when it would really just be me regurgitating what's already in this article on K-State Sports website. So if you want to read everything about every athlete, just go read the full article on your own time. I don't need to audiobook this. That's just not. There's probably a browser attachment that you could get to read it aloud for you, anyways. So
honestly, there might be a good enough browser attachment that it would be weird to do this. Please don't do this, but you could get AI of one of our voices to do it. Please don't.
Yeah,
but you could.
Don't use AI to begin with because it's lazy and uncreative, and I think less of you if you use it. But regardless, don't use it to begin with because that is creepy, especially if you do the stuff with our voices. We can't stop you from doing that because intellectual property just doesn't exist with AI, I guess. But please don't.
We can politely ask.
Yeah, personal plea. Please don't do AI stuff with our voices. But I'll go ahead and just kind of get into kind of some of the highlights, and I'm surely going to miss a few here because again, there's 53 athletes here, and it's coming kind of waves as well, with some signings early in the year, in the middle of the year, and then kind of a later group as well. a lot of transfers in as well from JUCOs and also from 4 years, like Aaliyah Foster from Texas. She 4-time All-American in 2 years at Texas in the long jump. And she finished 7th at the outdoor championships this past year. With a jump of 21 feet, 2.75 inches. Her personal best, though, is 22 feet, 1.25 inches. So her personal best would have put her higher than 7th almost surely. Going on, Trevon Hammer from Barton County Community College, triple jumper from Guyana. Won the indoor and outdoor JUCO national titles in the triple jump, both in 2024 and 2025. Aaliyah Lindsay transferred in from KU. We actually got quite a few transfers from KU. I guess we just rated their best jumpers.
That's a little funny. That's a little funny.
It is a bit funny. But Aaliyah Lindsay, she was a JUCO 11-time national qualifier in JUCO. Last year at KU, she made the Big 12 finals in the long jump and the triple jump. Selva Prabhu from India, he's already actually competed for K-State. He was 5th at nationals this year as a 19-year-old. And his personal best, triple jump 16.78 meters, 55 feet and 3/4 of an inch. He has his personal best is the junior national record in India and the 9th best triple jump in Indian history, and was Asia, the entire continent of Asia, U20 male athlete of the year in 2023, which he's 19 now, so he would have been 17 years old when that happened, which is good. So he's someone to look at as a future individual national champion, I think. Tons and tons and tons and tons of jumpers on this team. We have another transfer from Arkansas. I'm a person out of high school from Pennsylvania, Jamaican, another transfer from KU. There's just so many that I'm leaving people off that deserve to be mentioned. But we'll get to some vertical jumps now instead. I'll start with a in-state high school guy, Alan Hanna. He was the 5A state champion in the high jump last year. He jumped 7 feet, 3.5 inches, which is a lot. And he's from Mays High School. So probably was in high school at the same time as Avery. He almost set the Acacia state record in the high jump with that personal best he had of 7 feet, 3.5 inches. And he also qualified for state in the hurdles. And also as a basketball player, they listed this. This is completely irrelevant, but he averaged almost 20 points a game with 3 blocks a game. Understandable on the blocks. And another KU transfer, Devin Loudermilk. He was a grad transfer. If you recognize the name Loudermilk, his older brother or cousin, I assume, Isaiah Loudermilk, was a one-time K-State recruit who ended up going to Wisconsin, and I think spent some time in the NFL, if not still being there. So some of you who follow recruiting closely probably remember that guy's name. But he, from Howard, Kansas, went to the University of Kansas. Personal best in high jump of 7 feet 5 inches, and is a 3-time first team All-American and a 4-time All Big 12 finisher. And then in 2024, he swept indoor and outdoor in the Big 12, and he's finished as high as 3rd nationally at the NCAA championships. And he actually got here, I think, back in the winter, but redshirted this year to take some time to rehab from injuries. So this is another guy to look at as a potential could push for a national championship as an individual. One more person that I'll mention from a high jumping or vertical jumps, I suppose, is Shaniqua Williams from Jamaica won a gold medal in the Carifta Games, two-time ISSA champion. It has a personal best of 6 feet. Dorian Charles is a combined events athlete. He has the national record for Trinidad and Tobago, and also qualified for the U20 World Championship in the 400-meter hurdles. Abraham Vogelsang, he transferred in from Iowa. He was the Big Ten Indoor Track Freshman of the Year in 2025 and finished 6th in the men's heptathlon as a true freshman. And at the Drake relays, he had his first outdoor decathlon, and he finished 3rd there. And the Drake relays are like a legendary event, like big time event. So that's very, very impressive. Throwing events, notable name here, Lindsay Cure, older sister of Lincoln Cure. So noteworthy there. She transfers in from Regis University in Denver. Not a lot of throwers in this class, only 3. Lindsay Cure, JUCO transfer Ricardo Hales. He did really well in the JUCO level. His personal best as a freshman would have put him in 4th in the Big 12 in discus and 14th in all of track. And then Cooper Marks, he is a shot put discus thrower, younger brother of K-State's javelin thrower who plays at the national meet, Riley Marks.
That Carl's boy.
Carl's boy, yes, Carl's boys, because there's 2 of them here now. But and then there is just a long list of various runners, all of whom really, really great. Several from in-state as well. I'll just highlight a couple. Thomas Canavet transferred in from a school in France, and his top 400-meter hurdle time would have put him top 10 in the Big 12 in 2024. Then back in 2024, he was only 18, and he qualified for the U20 World Championships. And he actually competed this past spring for K-State. Went to the Drake relays as well. So there's a ton of great athletes coming in. I think I'm going to call it there because I've been yapping about this for a while, and there's still more. And I'm kind of tired of talking about it, but it's because this can only be so interesting. And the point I want to hammer home here is that this track and field program could really make some noise, I think, in the very near future. And I'm looking forward to seeing how they're able to compete coming up, especially with already some pretty good athletes on the team, particularly in some of the throwing events.
Yeah. And I do like that you highlight so many of those names, and it's largely because, this is probably our best chance at winning a national title, just because of the amount of names that we have there. But I don't want to belabor the point, so I feel like you've made the point for me. But unless you have any final notes on that, I feel like we can talk about the basketball schedules here.
I think I've done enough word vomiting on the track and field recruits, but I'm looking forward to seeing how they produce in the indoor season and the outdoor season especially. But we'll see.
Yeah. Either way, it's a program on the up and up. Now we can look to the men's and women's television schedule. We're going to start with the men's, and you'll notice a lot of things, just a few general takeaways. There are a lot of games on Peacock, which I believe I know it is a new thing this year, which, take it or leave it, it's another streaming services. Your opinion on that is going to be your opinion on every streaming service. But in terms of other notable games, for TV's sake, the first one that is televised first non-scrimmage that is televised is the CBS Sports Network matchup against Cal on Thursday, November 13th. FS1 gets the Indiana game. ESPNU gets Seton Hall. And then the big ones, this is where the big ones start. December 13th up against Crichton is on Big Boy Fox at 2 p.m. on a Saturday. BYU gets televised on Big Boy CBS that Saturday. The next big one for the big network is, of course, up against KU on Saturday on Big Boy Fox. Big Boy Fox also, I'm going to keep calling it that because I don't really know what else to call it, also gets the first Iowa State game at 1 p.m. on Sunday. ESPN2 gets at TCU. ESPN2 gets Baylor, and then Big Boy Fox for at Texas Tech, and ESPN2 for the return of for the return of TCU. And last but not least, CBS, Big Boy CBS, gets the last KU game. So a lot of premier designations for K-State this season, definitely more than we got last season. The only time that I'm remembering us getting anywhere close to this was like 2 years ago, and that, ended beautifully for us.
Yeah, I think it's more notable nowadays because for a long time there, pretty much it was really just ESPN that exclusively had K-State or Big 12 basketball, with a very small number of exceptions here and there for CBS to pick up a game. But a few things I'm happy about with this. The first one is we are continuing to get games on CBS Sports Network, which I really liked. I understand viewership-wise, it's really not that much different than like ESPN Plus. Or like any of those other just straight to streaming sort of deals. But I do really like the production value that you get from CBS. And because of their association with March Madness, I associate CBS really closely with college basketball and typically with like well done and well played college basketball. It's also nice that we get a couple games on Prime CBS. And we bookend the Big 12 schedule with games on CBS. Love a good bookend. So happy with that. Peacock is a new adventure this year. We have a few conference games, our Kansas City-based out-of-conference games in that Thanksgiving tournament. Those will be on Peacock too. Fox will be, I think, newer this year as well for men's basketball. Definitely an expansion there with the Fox networks. But I mainly am just liking that we're getting some games on CBS Sports Network and CBS Prime, of course, because I think that they do a little better job of capturing the environment for college basketball. ESPN, I think ESPN Plus, I think, does fine, but you typically don't get good sound unless you're on like regular ESPN or ABC, and everything else, the sound feels just kind of muffled a bit, which I do not like. But CBS Sports Network and CBS, they do a really good job with the sound. Fox does pretty good too, although I don't like their graphics as much as I do CBS's. Peacock, I have never watched a basketball game on any NBC property in my entire life. But I presume that it will probably be pretty decent because they do a pretty good job with football. So I think they get the NBA now this year for the first time in like 25 years. So because ESPN, I think, lost the rights. Or maybe, no, it was TNT that did. But
I don't know, man. Keeping up with television rights now is ridiculous.
It's like I like the variety. I don't like having to pay for the variety. That's the give and take with that, I suppose.
I also think it's worth noting that depending on how you count, quote unquote, premier designations for TV, you either have 6, 7, or 8 premier designations for K-State. If you're just going, prime CBS or prime ESPN, it's 6 or 7, depending on how they classify the Baylor game when it happens. If you're counting ESPN2, which I believe still streams or still is on like a basic cable package, I think you get to 8. So that's a really significant part of the season that is on those sort of premier prime networks. And if you throw in FS1 and CBS Sports Network, you're getting a lot more in the way of linear, like cable streaming, than we are used to in previous years. Because I remember last year, there were a pretty decent amount of K-State conference games that were just relegated to ESPN Plus. This year, there's one that is currently being listed as an ESPN Plus exclusive, which is a massive step forward for everyone.
Yeah, we've definitely kind of moved away as a conference from men's basketball, at least, putting a lot of the conference inventory on lower tier ESPN networks and instead kind of farming that out to CBS and to Fox and now to NBC with Peacock. So it's so we're kind of contracting that out, which I do like because, I mean, ESPN Plus is convenient when you have everything in one spot. But I do think that the quality could be better. I will say I've never had much of an issue with like a few exceptions, like accessing it. But the only time I ever have trouble accessing it is if it's like a platform wide thing or it's like an everybody thing. It's like I never have issues with it, like because of my internet or anything like that. Like it runs fine. But no, it'll be cool to see some variety, I guess, with the streamers. But it does like stink, I guess. It's like another thing you have to add on because it's not like there's one game on Peacock. I think there's like 5 this year.
Are you just counting conference games, or are you counting
everything? Everything.
Mississippi State, Nebraska / New Mexico, Arizona State, UCF, and at Houston. Why are you putting at Houston on Peacock?
At least no one's going to see it when we lose by 30. So that's the benefit there.
I guess that's true. But yeah, 5. 3 conference games.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, you're going to miss like some like actual stuff if you don't get Peacock or find other ways to obtain the stream.
You will not be elaborating.
So, yeah. I think most people can figure it out. But
yeah. But I'm all in all happy with the men's designation, especially with those prime spots. But the women's team is getting a lot in the way of over-the-air time as well, with 5 games being projected to be on either ESPN2 or FS1. The day after the K-State men's game is broadcast on Fox, the women's game is going to be on FS1. KU gets broadcast, I believe, both times on only the Lawrence matchup at 1 p.m. on FS1. Both of the Iowa State matchups get broadcast on FS1. Both on ESPN2. And then Baylor is the last one. Technically, it's wedged in between both the Iowa State matchups on ESPN2. So over the air streaming, good. I do wish that there were more, because I think this is fewer than last year. I think that might be just because of that tournament where we played Duke was kind of treated as a pretty big deal, if I remember correctly. But still, I'm not going to argue with the women's team getting on FS1 or ESPN2, especially given how women's sports have just traditionally been treated. This isn't like supposed to be some grand political point. It's just the objective truth that women's sports were not on over-the-air broadcast for years.
And looking last year, regular season, we had 5. So I think this is the same number then.
It's the same amount, yeah, 5.
Yeah, the only contention I think that you could make is that we did have a Texas A&M game on SEC Network, like the actual one, not SEC Network Plus, which I think like does come with some sports packages with cable, but I don't really think that quite counts.
I don't think it counts, no.
Because like that's lower on the rungs than ESPNU, and ESPNU kind of stinks. But that Iowa State overtime win, that was on ESPN last year. And then that West Virginia game that I think we talked about before the episode, was on that Monday, like 1 p.m., like in February. That was on Fox. Everything else, though, I think, was on ESPN2. So it's no, so not getting any of those like ESPN slots, I guess you could complain about, but I mean, you're still getting 5 games on like some actual television, not on the Plus. Although that tournament you talked about last year, that was on Flow College. So
no one saw that game except for the lucky few.
I think the Cancun Challenge this year for the women, I think that's on Flow as well, unfortunately. So hopefully we get a Good Samaritan who is able to take one from the team and stream that somewhere else. Then we also we play SMU on the road. That's on something called ACC Network X, which allegedly can be streamed from the ESPN app. Sure,
that makes sense to me.
I don't have a better answer on where it can be streamed from, so I just take K-State word for it.
Yeah, but all in all, I'm happy with both schedules, and it's going to make, especially for the men's team, it's going to make life a lot easier to watch them for just sort of the average K-State fan, which, that's never a bad thing. But I think now we can talk about the sporting events that have actually happened up to this point, which granted there are only 3. But the first one is the first Big 12 conference victory of the Colleen Cross era. I'm so close. I'm learning. I'm not calling her Colleen Cross anymore. I'm learning. But
you just did.
No, I did.
Okay.
I called her Colleen Corbin, didn't I?
No, you called her Colleen Cross.
I thought when I had the introduction, it was Colleen. Okay. Well, anyway, first victory of the Colleen era for the Big 12. Not going to say the last name anymore. Was a 2-1 victory over Oklahoma State. Though Oklahoma State did strike first in like the 4th minute of the match, K-State did manage to strike back in the 66th and 72nd minute to win 2-1. And the goals were Hannah Palmer, both of them, one on a penalty kick and one just the standard. But despite that, the score does not tell the story of how K-State really did kind of dominate this game.
Yeah, this, even though the score was close, like you said, this was probably one of the most, if not the most dominant performances that K-State soccer has had against a conference opponent. I mean, 25 shots, 9 on goal for K-State, just 9 total shots for Oklahoma State, and just 4 of them on goal. A few of them came pretty early. Corner kicks, K-State way out in front, 10 for K-State, just 2 for Oklahoma State. Fouls, we fouled plenty in this game. Both teams really did. We had 16, Oklahoma State at 11. This was a game that I remember. I think I had been in a movie, or there was some reason I wasn't able to follow. Oh, it was a volleyball. I think volleyball was happening at the same time.
It was.
And I was very annoyed that we were down 1-0 early, because like the same day that pod episode came out, where it was like the first time I think I've ever said about a conference game, I think K-State should actually win this. And we can go out and we concede a goal in like the first 5 minutes of the match. I was not a happy camper, but we just kept throwing shots up, and with the rate at which shots were going out from K-State, it was sort of just a matter of time until one found the back of the net, and we eventually did with a penalty kick. And then we capitalized on Oklahoma State misplay a little later, and we were able to find the back of the net again. But, I mean, this is probably like one of the first times ever that K-State women's soccer has like truly and thoroughly just dominated a conference opponent. So I was very happy with the win. It's a big road win. It was the first time we've ever beaten Oklahoma State as well. They were 7-0-0 against us up until this match. So Oklahoma State, who's traditionally a really good program, they're kind of having a down season. But yeah, obviously our record still isn't great. It's not screaming at you. But I mean, this is a good performance, and you come away with all the points. I was happy with this, and our RPI shot up a bit. We're up to 43 in soccer RPI right now, which has to be close to the highest that we've ever had. At this
if not the highest.
Yeah. But it just really, it needs, it has to be. But a genuinely impressive performance from K-State soccer. They're a couple games above 500 right now as well, at 6-4-3. So, man, this team, I was hoping for better than we've seen in the past from them, and they've really surpassed my expectations.
Yeah, I mean, they're competitive, and that's really all that we asked for, and they've given us more than we've asked for. They've managed to go out and be competitive against teams that traditionally would have beaten the hell out of them. But
yeah, it's like we didn't ask for much, and we got more.
My expectations were low, but you've exceeded them. So congratulations. But the matches that are upcoming, so the next time that we'll record, we'll actually have 3 to cover since we're recording this early. Today, we'll be up against Cincinnati, West Virginia, and Houston. West Virginia is actually ranked, and they're kind of the traditional power for soccer in the Big 12, but they're only ranked 24th, and we get them at home. So that'll be a good game, hopefully, at least. But now we can talk about the Alleycats, who only had 2 matches. One went exceedingly well. K-State blanking Texas Tech 3-0, winning 25-15, 25-14, then 25-19. Texas Tech has famously been awful at volleyball for the past few years, and K-State pretty well capitalized on that, hitting a total of 380 for the game. And you could probably guess who led in kills, because it's the same person that always leads in kills, and that's Shaylee Myers with 16, though Nia Clinton had 14. Callie Pond had 3 aces, led the team. Jordan Williams, 7 blocks. Ava LeGrand led in assists with 34, and then Nia Clinton had 13 digs. So, I mean, you don't really have a lot of super high scorers because we swept them and handled them pretty much from the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, I was at this match, and it was just complete and utter domination from K-State. One of the more one-sided volleyball matches I think I've ever seen, particularly the first 2 sets. Set 3 actually was close for a bit. It was tied at 19, and then we went on a 6-point streak there. But yeah, we just decimated them in this match. Shaylee Myers, she had her 16 kills, but that was on 30 attempts, 0 errors. So she hit 533 as an individual in this match, which is good. That is good. Jordan Williams, she went 8 kills on 12 attempts, also had 0 errors in this one. And then also in this match, Kaylee Pond, she had a stretch where she served 8 points in a row and had a couple of aces, and we just we had that 8-point run with Kaylee Pond serving. Every single serve was really good, and that was about the best she's looked, I think, all year. But she's been great as a true freshman and has been routinely, if not starting, getting a lot of playing time. So, and then additionally, this was also without Brenna Schmidt in the game. I think she was warmed up and was available, but didn't play. Another note, without her, Jordan Williams, she took up the duties of middle blocker. She had 1 solo block and 6 assisted. So she more than held her own there. So 10 total blocks, because those assisted ones count as half. So 10 total blocks for K-State, just 2 for Texas Tech. 5 service aces for K-State, just 1 for Texas Tech. And then the one that drives it home really is Tech hit .072 across this entire match, including the second set. They went negative 0.08%. And the second set, where K-State hit 0.4% positive. I will clarify. But yeah, I mean, K-State, the entire match was better. Even when Tech was kind of keeping it close in the third set for a bit, it never really felt like K-State was out of control, which was weird to see K-State be on like kind of the right side of that, because typically that just isn't where we're at. But man, that was a great performance for K-State, and also underscored how terrible Texas Tech is.
Yeah, they're really bad. They're yeah. A team that's not bad is Baylor, who unfortunately did beat K-State 3-1 in Waco. Ended up taking sets 1, 3, and 4, 25-23, 25-22, and then 28-26. K-State ends up picking up the second set pretty convincingly, 25-17. The biggest issue here is K-State just couldn't find any consistency with the hitting. Only 174 on the day, which calculations say that's pretty bad. And even they were just consistently getting either doubled up or just being ruthlessly efficient on the opposite end for Baylor. So yeah, you had your leaders in Anaya Clinton, who actually had 18, Shaylee Myers 15 kills. Ava LeGrand had 4 aces, Brenna Schmidt had 5 blocks, and Ava LeGrand had 40 assists with Simone Sims 25 digs. But again, you're not going to beat too many teams, especially not a ranked squad in their home arena, when you're only hitting 174. And even in the set that they won, set 2, they only hit 225, which it was only marginally better than Baylor's 172. But this is one of those matches where ideally you would have liked to maybe pick up another set if you are going to lose, but ideally you want to win every single one of them. But this is one of those where I don't want to say I'm ever okay with losing, but it's understandable, because this just kind of never, sort of like the opposite end with Texas Tech, where K-State seemed to be in the driver's seat the entire time. Baylor kind of seemed to be in the driver's seat the entire time for this one.
I think what really frustrates me about this loss is all 3 sets that K-State lost, they had a lead at one point and blew them. Really, set 2 is the only one that K-State fought through the adversity and like kind of dominated that set and won 25-17. But set 1 was completely derailed by a couple of sketchy reviews that overturned calls in favor of K-State that went to Baylor. That completely threw off the momentum, and we did not respond. That was a set that K-State led pretty late in that one. There was a 22-18 lead for K-State in set 1, and they ended up blowing it. Baylor took 7 points to just R1 from that point, which that's just not going to fly. Set 3, K-State did have a lead late in this one, 19-17, but they were not able to come away with the win. Late in sets, Baylor was performing. K-State was choking, unfortunately. We had set 3 back and forth the entire time, and we had a 26-25 lead at one point, but we ended up giving Baylor 3 straight points from there. And so this is a game, I think if you're K-State, you're thinking, how did we let that get away from us? We had a top 20 team in the country on the ropes in their home arena in 4 sets and only came away with one of them. And you got to be pretty disappointed in yourself, I think. to not get at least come away with the win in like a 3-2 or something, come back in at least one of those close sets, because K-State probably should have won both of the first two sets, but was only able to take one, and probably should have won the fourth set as well, but just could not close. And that kind of continues the form. K-State pretty easily taking care of teams that they're clearly better than, but when they're facing someone on their level or a little better, they really struggle in the clutch moments.
Yeah. And I mean, they're going to be going up against two schools that are probably at their level or better in their next two matches, going up against number 11 TCU and KU, who I believe was receiving votes earlier in the year. Though you do get a week off between TCU and KU, with TCU coming out the day that this releases. But all in all, I still think that K-State is projected to be a tournament team as it stands right now, especially with, God help me, how RPI stands out right now. But still, like, this is one of those times where, especially the Baylor game, I think the TCU will be extremely telling about if this is a team that might be a one-and-done tournament team or a team that may advance a little further.
Yeah, this season's kind of going the opposite right now of how year one went with Jason Mansfield, where the non-con was just an absolute drag, but we really came on in the conference play and just missed out on the tournament. This year, we dominated non-conference and kind of built up our RPI from there, but conference play has been very hit and miss. I mean, so far, we have 3 conference wins, and all 3 of those wins, I think, were against teams that were just way worse than we are. But then when it comes to playing teams that are on or above our level, we're not holding court with them. I mean, we've really only gotten blown out the one time, I think, by Arizona State. All the others, we were at the very least in them. But yeah, I'm a bit frustrated that we aren't kind of getting a few more of these close matches in conference play, because we showed a bit of grit in non-conference, beating North Carolina in 5, beating East Carolina in 5 as well on the road, but not doing the same in conference play, not having that same level of grit, which is frustrating, but I'm hopeful that will be corrected, because if there's been a constant through the Mansfield era, it's that K-State has been peaking late in the year. So I'm hoping that's what we're going to see.
The anti-women's basketball team.
Could not be more of an opposite. So we need to combine Mansfield and Mitty, and then they'll either become good all year or bad all year. But I'm looking forward to seeing what happens there.
Like,
throw in Jerome Tang so we get our 6-game stretch of being the actual best team in the country. We'll see.
I forgot that happened. Probably for my own mental health.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you have any final notes before we sign off?
No, nothing else from me.
All right. Well, that's the case. Thank you all for listening to this episode of the Aggieville Alleycats podcast. If you want to follow or contact the show, you can follow us just about anywhere at Aggieville Alleycats. And if you want to email us, we're AggievilleAlleycats@gmail.com. If you want to follow us on a more personal note, I'm at ACEdwards00.
I am at Connor Boutzler, capital C, capital B.
And if you want to support the show financially, please be sure to check out the official Aggieville Alleycats merch store, link found in our podcast and Twitter bio. But most importantly, thank you all for listening to this episode of the Aggieville Alleycats podcast. Where come rain, shine, or anything in between, we're here to deliver to you the Kansas State sporting news that you so love. Stay safe, Alleycats.